We're on the way.
How do we get there? I don't know.
How do we get there? I don't care.
All I know, the Tottenham's on the way.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. We got Henry, we got Johnny, and we've got hangovers. I hope everybody is doing wonderful this morning. I hope everyone is keeping themselves out of trouble, celebrating appropriately for whatever it is that you find appropriate. And we got some stories, we got some memories and some insights, I guess, to share about our day out together. Henry didn't get in until 5:30 this morning. Johnny managed to get in and then had to get back out of bed to help Henry get home, find the petrol station. I got sidetracked via traffic issues, also didn't get home till late. We were up for 26 hours, give or take, in total. It was one of those memories where the bank account's not going to be happy, the wife, the kids, the girlfriends aren't going to be happy, and Bugsy Malone certainly wasn't happy. But we've got some things that you can't pay for, right? Which was a trip to meet Helga. And, I mean, what a Helga that was, by the way, guys. What a Helga that was. Unbelievable. 3 smoke shows. Ta-ta-ta-ta. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta.
Jeez.
Guys, let's find out how Johnny and Henry are. Johnny, how are you, mate?
I'm all good. I'm suffering this morning, I can't lie. I don't actually remember. I remember you two running off up the hill towards the airport and me saying, "Hey guys, remember me?"
Yeah, but you were dragging your feet. You had your head in your phone. You were more interested in putting a tweet out. Johnny, we've got 10 minutes, Johnny. Come on.
Hey, do you know how long it took me? To put that tweet out that I don't even remember? It took me like literally the whole journey. I'm not sure I even had finished it by the time I got to the airport. No, I couldn't. Yeah. I couldn't. It was as Henry said, I looked like Bambi. A couple of moments where the legs went. No. Yeah, listen, it was a fantastic thing for all the tiredness and getting absolutely drenched and soaking wet and freezing cold. I wouldn't have swapped it for anything. It was brilliant. It was a brilliant night. Brilliant night.
Henry, was getting kicked out of the home section worth it?
Absolutely, mate. The weather was diabolical. Let's just say what it was. I mean, my coat now is still drenched, and that's been basically on the radiator for the last.
You ever seen rain like that, Henry? It was like I got our tickets out to show to someone, and it was saturated. Like in a second, it was like mist. It was like
we couldn't see the second goal. Like when Porro puts the second goal on the back of the net, because it was a cross, and then it hits the back post. I think everyone down our end was like trying to kind of glare through the mist of that sort of Arctic steamy rain. Did that go in? And then I was waiting for someone else to start cheering before I looked like an idiot.
Yeah,
I thought Solanke's was a header. I didn't realise until afterwards it was Cuti Romero with a header and Solanke booting it in.
Yeah,
and you know what? Solanke's got a goal, both semi-final legs, the quarter-final winner against Frankfurt. You know, can he score in a final and go down as a Tottenham legend?
My striker.
Yeah, don't worry. John Philippe's also going to score in his final.
Yeah. Who cares about the FA Cup, mate? So just quickly, has anybody seen the meltdown on Arsenal's various channels? I was watching a clip. Dan Potts' channel, the Football's 12th Man. Shout out to him, a really good guy.
Nice boy, Dan, by the way.
Yeah, great guy. And he had Igal on. I think this guy from Jamaica or somewhere. He sounded like he was, or Barbados, whatever. Sounded like he was from that part of the world. And a few other guys, and Lee Gunner was on there as well. And the meltdown, where half of that audience, the panelists, was literally saying, and I love to see it. I'm going to clip it up. Love to see it. We're very jealous of Tottenham, super jealous of Tottenham, and that suddenly the Mr. Standards FC, right, the guy who's like it's all about winning, and it's all, and we're punching out our weight level. We should be winning everything. Suddenly, the goalposts have been moved to it. Wouldn't we rather be in the Europa League so that we can win it than be in the Champions League and not? And to be fair to Igal, who's obviously always uber positive about Arsenal, and that's his club, like it's fair play. He was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And then half the panel were going, "What are you talking about? Of course we'd rather be in a competition that's lower leg to win it, because we ain't winning the Champions League." And then someone else came in and said, "This logic is flawed. by that logic, we might as well get relegated just so we can win the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, right? If you ask me, listen, obviously I want to win this trophy, but I want to be in the Champions League, playing AC Milan, PSG, Barcelona, Real Madrid. That's what that's what you want. That's what you dream of as a football fan. I remember 2011, that run there, so excited, all the games that were at Wembley and the like. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. I wouldn't swap it.
Same, mate. Same. Let's see Susan in the chat. Cave Webster saying, whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
Not sure what that's got to do with anything. But okie dokie. Am I missing something there? Don't know. We're on our way. How do we get there? £500 connecting flights. But F it. At least I'm on my way. Good man, Nick Carey. We'll see you out there, buddy. See you out there. PH family. Come on, you Spurs.
Just to say, guys, right, big shout out to Sport Options who sorted us out yesterday. Couple of beers on the way out. Really well organised. No issues. Everything plain sailing. They've got flights to...
I've just got a call coming, Sean. I'll be 2 minutes.
Pardon?
Just got a call quickly.
All right, okay. Yeah, flights to Bilbao. They're doing the 1 night and, 2 nights and 1 night option. So if you're struggling for flights, I think that's your best bet rather than going around the world. Or you can catch a boat, I think, from Southampton to Bilbao.
Yeah.
So make your choice. If you want to be there,
people are booking like carrier pigeons. They're trying to get a pig that can't fly. Like
some are driving and going to stay in their caravans. Good luck to you all, whoever it is.
Good luck to you all. We'll see you out there. Looking forward. We've got PH family coming, Spurs. Will Helga be joining you on the stream, Sean? I wish, mate. I wish. Part of me. I've got to be honest. Part of me, when we struck the deal that there was going to be a meet up in Bilbao pending their Bødo getting there. I mean, I had to go and buy. Where is it? Somewhere here. Oh, it's on the back here. Johnny's got his. I got mine. We had to buy this to kind of blend in because when we realised that we were in the home section, we thought
it didn't go down well, did it, Sean? When we were singing Spurs, we were told to shut up, or there was going to be issues. So we did what everyone should normally do, and we carried on singing. And then we were, we were advised that it would be a good idea if we left, and it was the right decision. Even though we were on the halfway line, it was the right decision to go and stay with the Spurs fans. And we had a great pitch. I noticed some people sent me the video today where I seemed to be in my spacesuit with the hood up, bouncing around in the Tottenham video this morning. Have you frozen up again, Sean? Looks like it.
So I don't know what's going on with my internet. Are you back, Johnny?
No, I'm here. I'm still here.
I don't know what's going on. My internet's struggling. It shouldn't be, but apparently it is. Maybe the heat's kicking in. What were your thoughts, mate? Let's talk about the overall day. Bødo, sort of place you want to go back to, just out of curiosity?
No, I mean, listen, look, the people were very friendly. Found that guy, with his book. Went to the restaurant and sat there, and the guys came over and they were all really chatty. Everyone was unbelievably friendly, really, really were. And so it made the experience, very, very nice, as opposed to, when you go to a lot of these European games, it can get very hostile, especially in Italy. Germany, if the police hadn't been there, it would have been quite nasty. I think overall, it was an experience. Getting off the plane, seeing that fantastic scenery, something you'd never see. Might not ever see it again in our life. We might not ever play. I think we once played Tromsø, however many years ago. So it was just taking it all in. And the whole day was just fantastic from start to finish. And I couldn't have wished to spend it with two better guys, really. Honestly, I had such a laugh. Now I'm beginning to remember bits of it.
Do you think that Henry survived the day? Was he like worth in for a penny, in for a pound?
Henry was great value, and I've got to be honest with you. I got more messages about did Henry make it home. Did Henry make it out the airport?
Where's
Did Henry
Henry's
make it
passport?
to the game? Is Henry on the return flight? And what sort of state is Sean in? Those are most of the messages I got this morning.
Yeah, exactly.
I had plenty more like in the tank as well. I was at one point I was sitting there in the bar, and I think Sean got me a drink. I already had one, and then someone else at the bar bought me a drink. So I was like carrying 3 drinks over to the table, and I just had to neck one of them and then go outside. And then there was that guy there with the yellow flag, and we were I'm not going to repeat what we were singing to him, but
well, you can stick your flag up your ass.
that was we changed it a little bit to stick your yellow flag up your
Yeah. I think one of the funny bits was the baby. I don't know if you've seen it. I posted.
Oh yeah,
funny. Where the guy is a Spurs fan, right? He's in a block of flats overlooking the bar, and he's got his baby, and he's dropped the baby down. Right, the baby. It was very, very funny. It was very funny.
Slightly Michael Jackson-esque, right? And
Thank God he never threw him down to the crowd below. That would have been a bit of a touch too far. One of the guys probably would have bounced it on his knees and kicked it through the traffic lights on the other side of the road. But look, it was brilliant. The build up. There wasn't any rain actually. It was quite nice. And then obviously, Sod's Law started to walk to the game. Sean led. He said, "Look, there's the floodlights, but it was actually a farmer's field."
Mate, I was right about all the directions. I'm someone I pay attention, mate. I pay attention to things when I'm walking around. I notice things. I know where we're going. Yes, I might have taken us on a bit of a giant L on the way back, but we still got there in the end.
What the L?
Go on the L, up the L. And, we could have gone straight. But, yeah, after half an hour of walking from the stadium, and then we ended up walking back past the stadium. It was,
The blind leading the blind, it was.
Yeah.
It was such a good trip, though, wasn't it? Midweek out in Norway. We'll probably never go to Bødo ever again.
Never.
Listen, to be entirely honest, mate, like meeting those 3 birds and then realising that 2 of them lived in the... Mate, also, just for what it's worth, shout out to the 3rd girl who only got... Because Johnny was, doing the camcordering, and I think he was zooming in and focusing on the brunette a little bit too much, because the 3rd girl she only got a couple of seconds of airtime at the start, but her eyes... would light up a room, mate. All 3 of them, absolute ratatatas. And I was just like, I would go back. I would go back tomorrow.
Sean needs help, doesn't he?
I got their number, though. I got Maria's, I think it was Maria's number. So I'm going to send her a text message. I don't know if you're into spontaneity, but your team didn't get there. But if you still want to come to, I've still got a room for you. And if so, then Henry, you're sleeping on the street, bro. Because listen, I'm loyal, but I'm also I prioritise, mate. So at the end of the day, Helga 1 can come in anytime she wants. Listen. What about the game, guys? What about the game? So it wasn't exactly a memorable match, was it?
Terrible, wasn't it? It was terrible. Look, we had 39% of the possession, and what I find incredible is what I've asked him to do in games when we're playing the likes of Liverpool and we're taking a 1-0 lead to Liverpool. Play pragmatic, play like we played last night. Concise, solid. And he hasn't done it, but he's done it in the 2 games away at Frankfurt and away at Bødo. So that's what we're going to have to do. Let's be honest here, guys, right? For us to beat Man United, with Mason Mount back and Bruno doing his thing with no creativity, we're going to have to be solid. We're going to have to play with that midfield of Bissouma, Bentancur, and Pape Sarr probably. And I've got to tell you, I thought Bentancur was back to his best last night. He was superb in the middle of the... And that's how we're going to have to do it and try and beat them on the counter-attack. Because if we go and play expansive football, they're going to rip us apart. That's my opinion. Amarin's got them playing much better than they did before.
Kay Webster's on a song mission. He's just... I don't know what he's
doing. He's quoting all song tracks.
Henry, do we need to go and do that same sort of setup? First and foremost, let's put all the shenanigans to one side. Let's get back to football, because football's the most important thing why we're here. how much credit do we need to give to Ange Postecoglou? I know that most people, I'm sure some people today have woken up and that were already kind of walking across the Oki and now walking back because he's managed to put together a team. And to be fair to Knutson, who's named after what I would like to do in Bødo, to Knutson, you know, the manager did give credit to Ange and said that Tottenham surprised me. He
Bango's NordVPN sponsorship. Hey, it's going to have the Pornhub. You're going to have Pornhub and
yeah, OnlyFans sponsoring us.
OnlyFans account.
OnlyFans and Beaver Street.
The Knutson did say that you know, that Tottenham surprised them. That they didn't expect Tottenham to do it that way over 2 legs, right? And we did do it in an unconventional, unorthodox, typically un-Ange method. We got it done. And it was calm, right? Like there was no, even on that horrible weather, they soaked the pitch. It had been raining for hours and hours and hours. The pitch couldn't get any more wet, right? Water can only be one level of wet. And yet they still soaked the pitch with that truncheon of a water cannon before the game. So and obviously they did the fireworks the night before outside the Tottenham Stadium to try to put the players off. They pulled every little bit of dark arts that they
made me jump.
Oh yeah, the bang, the cannon as well that went off that made Johnny shit himself and Henry shit himself.
Oh, that was Henry. I shot
myself
at the rocket that shot past me, and then of course the bottle that missed my head as we walked through the ultras. That was an interesting. Yeah. We're getting threatened to be shanked, wasn't it? Shanks.com. Yeah, I'm going to shank you.
We're going to shank you. Okay, thanks. But the overall, do we need to give Ange a lot of credit here for? And not take it out of context because they are 2 different competitions. But in the league, it's been disastrous. But in the Europa League, in those tough moments, he's set the team up to do something, which was get the job done. And I think we have to give Ange a lot of credit for that, don't we, Henry?
What level are we? What level are they, Henry? Sorry, mate. What level do you think they are?
Well, Bødo.
Yeah. Realistically. League One?
Yeah, Championship.
Yeah, a push. Yeah.
Not what everyone was saying beforehand, though.
No, everyone but saying... they got where they were for a reason. Like they knocked out Lazio for a reason. They beat Porto for a reason. Like they're not the, you know, anything can happen in the cup. We've seen Wigan beat Man City in an FA Cup final. Anything can happen. It's not like a league where your entire campaign's decided after 38 games. This is 90 minutes against Man United. We've beaten them 3 times. Can we beat them when it matters? Is the big question. I think in terms of our 11 yesterday, the only 2 players I think you can come off and actually criticise, Brennan Johnson, and maybe you could criticise Richalison. Back 4 again, very solid. Porro, you know, that ball was on all the time. If we had a Maddison there yesterday, I'm convinced we come out there 4-0 win because that pass was on, you know, and he's doing it to Richalison. I thought Kulu, he was all right. Not his best game. Bentancur was very good. Romero is Romero, Vicario, and Porro like fist pumping, chest pumping after, you know,
everything. Yeah,
they won a goal kick. It's like, oh, have some of that. And that's what it was. I was like, I can't.
Loved it though. That's what we love.
Yeah, yeah. But like every 5 seconds, it was getting to a point where I was like, mate, your sternum's got to be hurting now. Like,
yeah. You might pop a rib.
I don't want you getting a broken rib from a
Unfortunately, chest, injury news. And for any injury news? Well, look, the guys got through the game untouched, but unfortunately, both Romero and Porro and actually Vicario, funnily enough, we're not sure what the cause was, but it looks like they've all got rib injuries and maybe a pop lung. You know, unfortunately, one of them's out. We got them on the respirator, but yeah, no, it's I'd love to see it.
Though, from Ange, that's how we have to play.
You have to play away against United, though.
Yeah. That's how we've got to play that way.
Man United have got players who can create. Again,
we said that about Bødo, mate. Man United are shit.
No,
they're not sure. They just beat Bilbao 7-1.
Mate, no, you're wrong.
Bilbao are not that good either. There's no striker in Bilbao.
John, their run to the cup. Okay, we've beaten Alkmaar, Bødo, and Frankfurt.
Elfsberg,
Furnace Chavos,
Carrier Bag,
Alkmaar again.
Yeah.
I'm not.
No, you're doing what Tottenham fans do, which is always.
I'm not doing what Tottenham fans do. I'm just saying we shouldn't be coming out here and acting like we're going to breeze Man United.
You said the same thing against Bødo, and I was the only person who said this is Bødo. It's not Real Madrid. We're going to.
I agree. But Man United have beaten Real Sociedad.
We've beaten them 3 times this season at
Yes,
Anfield whilst we were
doing
shit
it when
as
it
well.
matters.
When they were,
is a different question.
We beat them in the cup. Football's not. They're a cup team. Yeah, we beat them in the cup.
Okay, so you think we're going to go in there and piss it?
I think we're going to go in there and win. Yeah, I'm not in any way phased about Manchester United. You talk about Bruno Fernandes like he's top 3 in the world. He's good on his day.
He's the top 3 playmaker in the world.
No, he's not. What are we doing here?
Fernandes is in the Premier League is a better playmaker than Bruno Fernandes.
Danny Olmo could play it to the 10 better.
Danny Olmo is not a better player than Bruno Fernandes.
Oh, mate, give me Danny Olmo all day over Fernandes. What are we doing here?
Who's a better playmaker in the Premier League than Bruno Fernandes?
I'd still take De Bruyne.
Kevin De Bruyne's got one leg and he's leaving City.
No, at the time. Look, I totally agree with Henry here. Look, I hear what you're saying. It's not about being negative. It's not about being negative, Sean. It's about being realistic, right?
He's got 11 goal contributions in 13 in the Europa League.
They have got all their players come back now, all of a sudden, right? A load of their players. Mason Mount, right, who's been out for like 18 months. He seems to have been consistently injured. He's come back. They've got 2 creators. We, unfortunately, with Berghvall and Maddison both in that team, I would be standing here saying we can smash this lot, not a...
I agree. If we had those 2...
you wouldn't. You'd find something else.
Yes, I would. I'm just telling you now I would.
You'd find something else.
No, because I've been to the games at United. I thought we were going to smash them up there, and we did. I was there. But this is a different ball game. And what Henry's saying and what I'm saying is, if you go and try and play expansive football, they're going to rip you apart. They
didn't rip us apart the last 3 times we've done it, though, Johnny.
This is different now, Sean.
These numbers, Sean, are very good, though.
Sean, we're talking about now our 2 best creative players. Berghvall's been our best player since January, and Maddison on the big games.
And they've lost derelict my balls, right? They've lost
They've lost who?
Derelict my balls. Delict, right?
Yeah, they've got plenty of players, and they've got loads that have come back, and suddenly he started to get them to play better, right? That's all I'm saying.
In the Europa League, of which we are doing the same, in the Premier League, they are still as dog shit. I am more worried about Harry Maguire's head than I am. But
you've got nothing to worry about. You just said there's nothing to worry about. It's a walking.
No, I said I'm more worried. I'm still not worried. I still don't break into the world of worry. I'm just saying that on terms of levels of concern, I think Harry Maguire, if the game happens to be like 1-1 with 93 minutes on the clock, then I can envision a scenario where Harry Maguire might do what he does. But Bruno Fernandes is nothing like the player. He's a good player when he wants to be. He's also a brat. He's also a fucking idiot. He's got a red card.
Being a brat, how does it make him a bad player?
Because it makes him lunatic. He gets loads of red cards. So
okay, but he's turned up in the biggest games, Man United. He scored an FA Cup.
You guys, we're not even 12 hours after.
No, I'm just saying we're talking like Bruno Fernandes. It's just like.
Why is this screen on the pitch? What are we doing here?
That's his numbers this season.
Yeah, I'll show you Brennan Johnson's numbers on the screen. Manchester United fans right now on the stream going, don't worry about Brennan Johnson.
Stop. Yeah, you're twisting the narrative here, right?
I'm not twisting anything.
You are. You're
reacting to your...
All I'm saying, no, because I've enjoyed every moment of it, right? What I'm saying here is for us to beat Man United, rather than play expansive football, we have to play solid football at the back with a solid midfield and a solid defence and hit.
Like we did against Frankfurt.
That's it. Play as we did at Frankfurt, as we did at Bødo. That's how we beat Man United.
That's not how we played in the home legs. And this game is the final. It's a one-off. The reason we played it the way we did in Bødo and in Frankfurt was because we had certain things that we had to achieve in a 90-minute game. I think that setting up the way we did, where we give the opposition the ball and try and make them break us down, I think you're asking for trouble. I want to see not gung-ho and ball necessarily, but like a more of a front foot appetite for it, because you have to win the final. You can't hang on to a lead or just not lose.
Look, we're not going there to say like we did against Liverpool and say we made the final, great, and that's the end of it. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying use your head. Right, without Berghvall and without Maddison, if we play expansive football, we don't have that creativity to open them up like that. So our best bet is when they break forwards is to use
them.
of Tell and Bødo and Odobert or Johnson, whoever it is. You know, that's all I'm saying.
I think Tottenham have got a very, very good chance of beating Man United. And as I said yesterday, and I said on the plane home, the one player they do have, which I fear about, and everyone on the plane even said it, is Bruno. If you stop Bruno, you beat Man United.
Yeah.
Whereas I personally think we need to go in Bilbao and play the way we did at City. All our best wins this season have been when we've had a pragmatic approach.
Is the way to beat Bilbao, is the way to beat Man United. I don't disagree that if you stop the creative threat, you've got a better chance. I just don't give him the credit that you guys do that he's this well beater. I don't think you have to completely reshape the tactical setup to hang on to something like we were doing.
So how would you set up against Man United?
I would do what Tottenham did in Frankfurt, but not the overall embargo of offensive threat at the because you're trying to pick them off. But I don't want to do it that way. I'm just saying do what we did in Frankfurt, and as much as if you stop Mario Götze and the way that Romero got touch tight to Ekitike, then you nullify. But I thought, someone put it in the comments, I thought Decky had a bad game on the ball yesterday. I thought him and all the front three were really, the three behind Solanke. I thought Solanke was phenomenal. We're going to talk about him in a minute because that guy still doesn't get the credit at all in so many areas of this man.
Sorry, 2 seconds. I've got BT calling me back.
No, they don't understand what he's asked to do and what he does for the team. He is an absolute machine with his energy.
He doesn't work hard, Sean. No one says he doesn't work hard.
I'm not saying that. People undervalue that as an asset. They say it doesn't matter if he's a striker. All we care about is output, and don't share give the same lenience to Brennan Johnson. I just look for consistency. But what I think that what Solanke does is an incredible amount of effort and work rate that is the numbers of which are reflected in the output in players like Brennan Johnson. Anyway, my point being that the three behind him had quiet nights with the ball, scruffy game of football. But I thought that Decky did actually. I didn't think he was great with the ball, but I think he did quite a good job of nullifying that Berg.
And also, he looks very tired, doesn't he? He looks like he's running through treacle. He's not the Decky that we saw. I mean, the fact is, Sean, what worries me is that Decky himself came out and said he's almost exhausted for the amount of games he's played. And he needs a rest almost. And he didn't get rested and then he got injured. And now what we see, I mean, Glenn Hoddle mentioned it. I just saw the end of on a clip where he said that Decky hasn't looked a shadow of what he was at the beginning of the season. So I'd like to see Decky rested between now and that game in 10 days. Just let him train. Let him get some of that pizzazz, that buzz back, because we need him. Yeah. We need him.
I think he blows himself out a little bit in the first half of the season. He's got this reputation of being three lungs or whatever. I just think he goes a little bit too hard, doesn't save anything for the second leg, which is fine, or for the second half of the season rather. But I also think that he's become a little bit selfish with the ball. I think he doesn't release at the right time. I think he wants to take on the world by himself because his confidence in the first half of the season sort of dictated that he could do that sort of thing at times. But I think that you need to, I think he needs to kind of relax a little bit on that and trust his teammates a little bit more than I think we've seen. But I think, all that said, I completely agree with you that he does look shattered. He does look a fraction of the first half of the season player. But I do think that he put in a shift last night in nullifying, as did Bentancur and Bissouma. I thought both of those guys were really, really good at doing what they have to do. But against Manchester United in 90 minutes of football, I don't think you treat this as an away leg. I think you treat this as a cup final, and I think you treat it with the opportunity that it presents itself. You don't win cup finals by hanging on to 0-0 draws. You have to at some point push forward. I take the point that we're without our creative sparks, but there's other areas in which you can. Again, Matisse Tell, right? Has your opinion on Matisse Tell changed a little bit about last night after his efforts last night when he came on? I thought he was great again.
I'm not saying he doesn't try, sure, but there's more to it. You say he looked great, amazing. I mean, we beat them. And we did it. It was a professional performance last night. That's how I would describe it. A professional. I'll tell you what I saw last night, which is why Simeone wants the pair so badly. That relationship that was there right from the beginning, before the last World Cup, between Cuti Romero and Bentancur. Those two were dovetailing, mate. Honestly, they were really superb last night. the work that they were doing. And I'd love to see Bentancur signed up for a new contract. I really would. I don't want to see him go, because I'm seeing signs of him like back to the Bentancur we know in the last 2 or 3 games against Frankfurt and this one, and the 2 games against Bødo.
He's better. He's better in the 8, mate. He's better with Bissouma behind him. Ask him to play in the 6. I think I don't rate.
But there's no point in saying you don't rate him, because he plays when he plays with Cuti Romero in the position he's meant to play in, right? He's
what position?
Well, I think he can play in a variety of positions personally. But
what I'm saying is that he's much better in the 8 with Bissouma behind him. He's got more confidence than when he's asked to play in the 6 and with Berghvall playing in front of him. I think that Bentancur is a far more. He's got the DNA of an 8, right? His mind is triggered by reactions to certain environments in football that an 8 does, that a 6 doesn't. I've seen it so many times. He's not touch type when we're in the rest defense, and in that 6 role, yes, he can do a good job. But there's things that happen off the ball, and we see that when we go to games that might not be caught on camera. His reaction, his getting touch tight. When we lose the ball in transition up the pitch, when Maddison has it or Sonny has it or whoever, then he's not where he needs to be in that transition. And I just think that he is far better when he has Bissouma behind him in the 8 than when we see him in the 6 himself.
I'm telling you, it's Cuti Romero is the key to him playing superb. I'm telling you, because you see they have a chemistry together. One treats the balls, brings the ball out. They link up very well. I mean, who was better for you last night? Or Matthias Tell?
Sorry, who's better? What?
Who was better for you yesterday, Bentancur or Matthias Tell?
Well, in different positions, right? Different roles.
No, but who had the better game last night?
Bentancur had the better game last night. But again, so you're missing the point. You're saying that you're telling me it's Romero's relationship with Bentancur, but Romero plays with Bentancur when Bentancur plays in the 6 and when he plays in the 8. And I'm saying, I'm not to pardon your pun, but in my opinion, Bentancur in the 6 with Romero or otherwise is not as good a player in defensive scenarios and when we have the ball, but in the caught in the transition, as he is when he has Bissouma in front of him. So for me, the difference is the position, not the player that he's playing with.
I also think that it's when you put Bentancur with James Maddison, who's doing absolutely nothing, right? And again, and sometimes with Pape Matar Sarr, the 3 of them together there's been no real bite in there. So yeah, I would agree with you with that. But I don't think specifically. Look, Bentancur lost his way. There's no 2 ways about it. But for me, before the last World Cup, before he went away, I did a poll and he was head and shoulders voted the best player. And he was fantastic in that World Cup. That injury at Leicester really killed him. And I think now just seeing signs of him coming really back to his best, reading the game, his energy levels and his engine. And I wouldn't like to lose him watching him last night. And I think he's going to be a crucial player for us in the next couple of weeks. Just ask you a quick question. We've got 2 games coming up. Crystal Palace and Aston Villa away. What do we do? Does he play the kids and because we can't afford any more injuries? It's as simple as that. We cannot afford if we lose Cuti Romero or Micky van der Ven or Bentancur or Solanke. We can't afford. We cannot afford. We can't even afford to lose Richalison. We can't afford to lose any of them. So what do we do? How do we?
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't really thought about it because I was like take one game at a time sort of thing. But now we've got to think about it. I'll think about it on the spot.
2 days.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. So I like at the moment. I guess the way my mind initially works on the thought process, and like I say, I'm happy to be convinced here, and I'm not settled on this opinion at all. So like subject to change. But I would think that right now you have the dilemma of what is
it's the best he's sounded in weeks.
What did I miss?
It's Dalek.
I know. Am I back?
Yeah, well, no. Yeah. Well, you're back.
back.
You're
I'm
back.
back. I'm back. Sorry.
There you go. You're back.
Okay,
Yeah,
so what was it? The only
Danso and Davis, is that what you're saying?
so the only important thing. Fucking hell! Hang on.
Sean, jump out and jump back in.
Yeah, just leave, Sean. We'll carry on from here. Who would you play, Henry, while he's getting back in?
No, I'm back. I'm back.
Okay.
Sorry about
Who would you play? Who would you play at the
Yes.
back to rest them? Danso, Davis.
some logic on it, right? Is I think the only thing that matters, right, the final. Obviously, that goes without saying. But then you kind of go, well, so the dilemma there regarding should you be doing focusing for players that are like trying minutes of the season.
Sean, jump out and jump back in.
Sean, you're gonna have to go out and come back. It's terrible, mate.
Okay.
Is he going? What's he doing? Right.
Yeah.
So
What was the question? What back line would you play against Palace?
I was just saying. So look, we can't afford any of the main players to get injured, right? So can we put out a team that would still be reasonably competitive? I believe we can with Danso, Davis, Spence, Archie Gray probably playing at right back, and then the midfield. Do you blood in Micky Moore? Do you blood in Callum Oluwasi and give them a chance? These are meaningless games now for us, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the midfield I'd play would be Sarr. I'd go with the back four of what you said.
Yeah.
Gray, Spence at fullbacks, Danso, Davis. I think one of Bissouma or Sarr will play.
Yeah.
I think you rest Benton core. I'd go Sarr.
I'd play Callum Oluwasi personally.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he'll throw Micky Moore in the 10. I think Kudus will probably play 50 minutes. And then he'll bring someone in. And I think the front three, I think Richalison will play. I think he should go Richalison, Moore, and
Odeber,
yeah. And that way you're resting the entire back four. Because you've got to remember, the players are not going to train today.
Yeah.
The training session will probably, there might not even be a training session. It might be recovery tomorrow.
100%.
So it'll be a rest day like today, because obviously the players didn't get home much earlier before us, or much later than us. So recovery and recharge. I think, yeah, like these games are still very, very important in my opinion, because we need match sharpness going into that Man United game.
Yeah.
As much as it's going to be important resting everyone for Crystal Palace, I still do think we should put a strong team out against Villa. Because then if you rest the entire back line against Palace and Villa, we're then going into a Man United game, yes, with a fully healthy team, but Man United will play some strong teams. Like they've got Bruno Fernandes he'll get tomorrow off or Sunday off, but he'll play in their game on the Friday night. And is it better to have, let's say Richarlison scores or Solanke scores a couple of goals on the game against Villa, we're then going in off the back of something? Like you need match sharpness is going to be very important, but you need a balance between 0 injuries and sharpness.
So do you play them in a bit? This is what I was saying. I would rest them all for Palace.
I'd rest all the teams up against Palace,
and then bring back certain ones to get that match fitness.
Yeah, like maybe play 60 minutes. Like I'd play. I'd play 60 minutes. I'd have our back line play. I'd rest Porro. Porro is one of the only players I'd rest probably both games, because I think that ball. I don't think there's another player in the team that can play that ball over the top consistently, and when that we've started using that as an outlet. I think Romero and Van der Ven, one of those will play against Villa for 60 minutes. I think Udogie will probably play 60 minutes. What I don't want as well is that Son doesn't play against Palace or Villa and then he's chucked in against Man United.
Harry Kane
again.
Yeah, I agree.
Like if Son's fit, play him 90 minutes against Palace. Give him a full 90. See how he gets on. If he's fit going in against Villa, give him 50 minutes and then see where we are. we can't afford to make that same mistake twice of where we throw in Harry Kane or Son and then and then they don't deliver or whatever.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, still here.
So where Johnny's gone. I wonder whether or not, mate, that there's there's two things that are sort of going on at the same time here, right? With regards the thought processes, like, do we now park? I hear what you said about, obviously, with take your point about the turnover time before Sunday. No one cares about Sunday, so on that basis, you play the whole replacement team. But for the Aston Villa game, have we had enough time practicing this new squad that we have to play with that doesn't have Maddison and Berghvall to be able to afford to give minutes to players that are not going to be playing in the final? Like, do we have to park? Like, traditionally this time of the season, if they are dead rubbers in the Premier League, then you kind of go, well, let's just give some minutes to players who are not, like maybe the Ajays, maybe Mikey Moores, that sort of thing, that are, that are trying to prove themselves ahead of next season. There's all of that, apart from on Sunday against Palace, but against Villa, do you have enough confidence that we have enough minutes in the legs of the sample size with regards to the tactics of the 11 that are going to play, absent Maddison, absent Berghvall? So do you use the Villa game as a test, as like a practice session, or do you just go down plan A, which was to give the younger guys minutes for next season?
I personally, you know what? The funny thing is about all these discussions, I'd love to know what percentage of the serious injuries that we've had this season have occurred in training. Because a lot of them have occurred in training.
Berghvall apparently was in training, wasn't it?
Berghvall was in training. Solanke's was in training. Richarlison's one was in training. There's been a whole heap of them, right?
So is that down to the coaches and Ange for the training setup, or is that just shit luck?
Well, no, because I've said this right from the very word go with Ange. In the first season, he wants to replicate in training match conditions, exactly the same. So he wants the same intensity and all the rest of it. And I've always felt that because of that intensity, we look flat when we come out. I mean, I didn't think we came out the traps on fire like he's just read, something from Martin Luther King before they ran out onto that pitch last night. They didn't come out the traps, putting them under terrible pressure. And we haven't done that in really many games this season. But I think, with the amount of games and the injuries that we have, I hear what you're saying, Sean, really, because, you need to keep the match fit. But I'm really of the mind that what happens if there is an injury in training and you haven't given any minutes to a Callum Uluwesi or a Mikey Moore or anything, and then suddenly you do need to because you're forced to use them. Why not? In these two games, you're going to work with the tactics. I would be working on the setup. So I would be playing pragmatic. Forget we're playing Crystal Palace. I would be setting up the setup exactly as we're going to be playing against Man United. And I will be swapping them after, say, using our 5 subs for, after 70 minutes, say, and just give them 20 minutes run out. That's it. And then basically a full strength team, more or less, for Aston Villa, so that we can get back match fitness. But he said,
how would you set up against? Sorry, Johnny, finish your point.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I heard Ange say we've got 2 weeks now, right? Which we don't, but we've got 2 weeks now to prepare and training. And these next 2 weeks and what we learn over these next 2 weeks is going to be crucial for the final. He said that, right? So they're going to work on something, but what can you work on? You see, when you've got no creativity, I keep on banging on the same point, but when we know we've got no creativity, are we going to shut up shop and have a solid setup, which is, I think, the best way to go forward? But if you're 0-0 going into that game against Man United with 15 minutes to go and no one's breaking them down, I want to have a Mikey Moore or someone that's on the bench for that 15 minutes that can run at players and open it up and break them down. We don't have them. So what do? Do we play them? Do we play the same setup pragmatic with a Mikey Moore or a Callum Oluwasi against Crystal Palace. See how he gets on. Same systems we're going to play against Man United. That's what I'd like to see.
Well, but is that the same? Is that the system we're going to play? Though we just had a debate about that in the first 20 minutes of the show.
My opinion is if we play expansive football with no creativity that we have now, with no Berghvall and no Maddison.
Well, they have no creativity in the centre, right? But what we do have in its absence, if they are pulling on all, I thought it was the right decision to play Richarlison because I was hoping that we were going to try to remove the pitch variable and to bang the balls long. We didn't really do that, and when Porro did sort of fling it in, we did go quite direct at times down the left hand side. But I didn't think Richarlison was. I wanted to see him sort of more in the box at the sort of the back post or whatever, see if he could get on the end of it like he did in the first leg. But I felt like that we do have options to replace the creativity in Maddison's absence. But what that requires for me,
work rate, would you say?
Well, it requires work rate, but it also requires, I think, like Maddison. If like Brennan Johnson's value is being at the back post. Right, very little else, but that requires, Tottenham to go down the left-hand side, which becomes predictable. As I've always said, right, unpredictability is the second best ability, and I love the fact that Knutson said that we didn't expect that. Like we that wasn't what we were expecting. That's a paraphrasing of that's unpredictable, which was good, and that was in the setup of the structure of defense for the sort of defensive resolution. But I think that with the absence of Maddison, I think that there's an argument to say that Brennan Johnson doesn't belong on the pitch because his value is being at the back post of moves that are set up that come from the left. But if you haven't got Maddison to pull the strings in the middle, then it becomes entirely predictable what you're going to do with the ball, which is bang the ball down the left every single time.
You put Kulu out on the right, wouldn't you?
Kulu out on the right, or Kulu in the 10 and put someone I'd put out on the right-hand side, just because you have a double threat then. And that at least allows, like with Maddison not being there, at least that means that the Manchester United defence have to know, well, there's a chance it might go down the right and a chance that it might go down the left. But to me, the absence of Maddison and Brennan Johnson on the right-hand side means there's only two ways that ball is ever going to come down the Man United's throat. One of them is from Pedro Porro from deep, and the other one is into either Richarlison or Sonny or whoever's going to be on the left-hand side. And that, to me, is not enough options. And so, for me, I think that there's an argument. I'm not settled on it, but I think that there's an argument to make that actually the absence of Maddison prioritizes a right winger that can take players on, not someone that wants to finish other people's dinner.
You need work rate, and Maddison isn't that. He just isn't that player. What we do have, though, is we have players who are used to the big occasion. That is, Richarlison, whatever you may think of him, he's played in World Cups, he's played at Copa Americas, he's played at Olympics, he's played at big. So that ain't going to faze him, right? In fact, he was buzzing last night. You can see that afterwards, right? Same with Bentancur.
Charging like a ball into the fans. Love that thing.
Yeah. But I mean, Bentancur the same, right? He's played in World Cups. He raised his game against Brazil last week, the other month, and he was absolutely superb. Romero, World Cup finals, Copa America finals, fierce atmospheres. None of that is going to faze him. And I think the core of that, Pedro Porro as well. When you have those type of players, those players are going to be crucial, and that's why I think, in all likelihood, that we're going to see something straight. I as much as I've loved Sonny over the years, please don't let it be sentimental, Ange, and put Sonny up on that left-hand side. I think we need to start Richarlison.
He's
on that
ready
left.
now as well, isn't he, Henry? Sorry, Johnny. He's ready, isn't he?
He's ready. But listen, I mean,
I share your concerns there. I
just want someone.
90 minutes against Palace. See how he gets on against Palace before we start playing him in a cup final.
But don't you need someone when he's playing Bruno Fernandes and all of that? You need someone that's going to get right in his face. He's not going to be bullied. He's going to give as good as he takes. And we know that Sonny right at the moment has been bullied in just about every game he's played in the last few months.
So I think the armband, I mean, Romero has got that like instinctive passion. He's very loud, commands the back four. I think going into the game, having him as our captain, obviously Maddison and Son out, that gives me a I feel a lot more confident. I feel confident if Son's on the bench and he comes on last 20 minutes, he can be an impact player. But we're talking about, obviously we've got a lot of players in our team that have won a lot. I think Man United will look at this and go, well, we've won the FA Cup recently, we've won the League Cup, but I think a lot of Man United fans are gonna write us off. I already see it last night on all the socials. Lads, it's just Spurs. Lads, it's just Spurs. That is exactly what we need. Put all the pressure onto Man United and don't talk about us. Yeah, you're gonna smash us. You're gonna smash us. That's fine. But if we go a goal up, all of a sudden that complete narrative changes. We want to go into this as massive as far as I look at it, I want to go in as massive underdogs.
Are we underdogs?
Yeah, we are. We are. In the bookies.
We're favourites in the bookies.
Are we? We weren't last night. Has it changed?
Hang on, I don't know. Let's have a look. I thought we were favourites. Someone
told
me
you want to go in as no pressure on you compared to being the team with all the pressure.
I think. Listen, we've said this 1,000 times, Johnny. Right? And like, we're going to say it again, 1,001th time. Right? It's the 101st blow of the stonecutter analogy when it comes to the pressure and the stakes couldn't be higher. But one of these two teams is going to win enough. Have the draw, right? Recent European champions. If it's Tottenham,
Man United are massive favourites.
Are they?
Yeah, they're 11-8, and we are evens.
There you go.
It's not massive favourites.
Well, you put $5,000 on. It's
not massive favourites.
Yeah, put $5,000 on. It's a big difference, though, isn't it?
What's level is even money in 11-10, mate. That's evens. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
Anyway,
that one there. Someone said 4-6 on United, 11-10 on Spurs.
Yeah, it's not massive favourites. It's very little to
favourites in bookie terms, Shawnee. That's favourites.
They're favourites, but they're not massive favourites. I'm gonna hold you account to the things that you say. Massive favourites suggest one is 10-1, the other one's 10-1.
No. In a 2-horse race, Sean.
Yeah, it's still not massive favourite. It's not massive. Sorry, it's just not massive favourite. I disagree. Massive disagree. Anyway, my question is what was the question I was going to ask you? Oh, sorry. The stakes couldn't be higher, right? The stakes couldn't be higher because one of these two teams, especially if it's Tottenham, right? We got to two European finals in 5 years, 6 years. Mate, if we win this and we go and win the Super League against the Super Cup against PSG or Inter, then Tottenham will have won more trophies in the next 2 months than Arsenal have ever won in their European history. Right? Stakes couldn't be higher, but the team that doesn't win gets left behind financially a little bit this season relative to the other teams that are all chomping at the bit to get in there and amongst it. So the stakes are massive, but again, how you approach it to me is an open-ended question. But let me put it out to the chat. Ones and zeros, guys. One, do you agree with Johnny and Henry that it's more of a template that we figured out now to be resolute defensively and kind of like shut up shop a little bit and just pick people off? Or do you want to see in a one-off game a little bit, again, not going back to like gung-ho football, definitely, I'm not suggesting that, but do you want to see us be a little bit more brave than we were in certain European minutes over the last couple of seasons? Because I don't think that Manchester United are as terrifying as people suggest they are. And I think we've beaten them 3 times this season playing the version.
They're terrifying. They've just got experience.
We've beaten them 3 times this season playing a certain way, and so I just think that like a dialed back version of the former is better than a locked in version of the latter, because I just feel like that there's a reason why we did what we did in the last 2 European games. Manchester United, I don't necessarily think holds that same need, and it's a 90-minute game of football. I don't think you can win a game by defending a 0-0. I just don't think that's the way you should go about it. I think there needs to be a little bit more optimism and belief in the team. And I feel like Tottenham fans, not you guys necessarily specifically, but generally speaking, it was 5 seconds of like, yes, we did it, and now let's pivot back to how shit we are. And I think we should have more faith in the players. I think that on paper our team is better than Manchester United, and on paper we are both as bad as each other in terms of form versus potential or what we can do. And I don't subscribe to this notion that we should be going into that with our backs up against the wall. I just don't think that's the right way to go about it.
Do you think we could borrow Christian Eriksen back for old time's sake? Because they've got so many creative midfielders and we don't have any, that maybe they could lend us one.
I wouldn't touch him with your barge pole, mate. I wouldn't touch him with your barge pole.
Listen, I'm just saying, mate, a midfield in a final without any creativity, is a problem. And the reason being, Sean, is that it's predictable. If you had James Maddison and Berghvall in, you have to worry about breaking the lines. You have to worry about balls over the top. You have to worry about different things. You have to worry about the wing play. You got to worry about Pedro Porro coming down, Destiny Udogie coming down. When you remove the threat of any creativity through the middle, right? When you lose the creativity through the middle, the threat is going to come only from the flanks. Therefore, you can take, he's an astute coach, Amorim, and he can negate that. And that's my point. There is no question for us in the middle for them to worry about.
What I worry more about this sort of comment, right? Like, there's two ways that you can look at statistics and go, you've beaten someone the last two times you played them.
Yeah.
Right? If you're sitting there going, we've beaten them the last 3 times, therefore we're guaranteed to lose, or the law of averages says we're going to lose. That's just such a weird mindset. To me, I'm someone in life because I beat you the last 3 times. I'm going to beat you the 4th. Ange has never lost to Manchester United since his time at Tottenham Hotspur. Like, I fucking hope that our team and Ange and our players, as little faith as I have in Ange generally, and don't really want him with the club regardless. Again, I've said it before, I will understand if the club make an exception to the rule and stick with him, because the best manager in our history is not the same as the most successful, even though he will be up there with the most successful. Different conversations. Shit, I forgot the last 2 super chats as well, so I've got to come back into that. But generally speaking, I just really hope that these people are harnessing the positives of the environment, because so many fans want to take this sort of notion of, like, I no disrespect to you, Rodney Trotter, no disrespect to you, mate, but like everyone's free to feel how they want, and I've got no problem with it. I just personally find it really, like, it's exhausting for me seeing people like feel that way after what we've done in Europe. I feel like this should be the moment where everyone goes,
sure,
come on, we are fucking on the premise, on the precipice of something magical, and there's just this inbuilt kind of like, it's like zero confidence in ourselves.
I know, but Sean, look, you can't help it, right? When you've been a Spurs fan for 20, 30, 40 years.
I get it. I hear you. I know, that's what I mean. I get
it. What it is, when they talk about the club mentality, it's only a club mentality because we've lived through it. We've suffered it. Just when we're on the brink of success, we fuck it up or we fail.
That's a mindset from
and
fan base that's come down from the football club.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that you
because like the tag Spursy, which we get, which whenever we decide, like our fans are singing yesterday, we can't fuck this up, like, because we've been kind of programmed.
And that, like, you know, that we have been you're right, Henry. We have been programmed, but who programmed it? I don't think that.
If the football club
that way, I don't feel that way. It's an individual choice. Johnny, is it? No, hang on a second, because that's again abdication of responsibilities for individual thought. Like, I'm a Tottenham fan. I've been here 41 years of my life. I don't feel that way. I will always go into any battle thinking I got a chance here. If it's David versus Goliath, because if you go in thinking you're going to lose, you've lost before you get in the fucking ring, mate.
No, you're missing my point. I'm not saying I go into every game thinking I'm going to lose it. I'm saying
I'm not saying you. I'm saying
but even the fan base. What I'm saying is, when you've gone through, 41 years, right? 41 years of waiting to be in Europe, and not doing well, and then finally we made the final, and it was like, well, we made the final. That was our final in Ajax. We didn't do anything in the final. It was the mindset, right? We've lost semi-finals, we've lost finals, we've lost against cup games. We thought, well, there's no way we can lose this, and when we have, and because of that, what I'm saying is, Spurs fans have become mindful of history.
I hear you, but could you make the same argument for Arsenal fans?
Just history has made.
I hear you. I hear the argument for why people feel that way.
Yeah,
I'm just saying it's an individual's choice to silence that shit and to get on board some positivity. Arsenal fans, right? Arsenal fans. Huh?
I don't think an individual can silence it. I think that needs to come from the board.
No, bollocks, mate. The board is
does.
not responsible for what happened. If Tottenham went out last night, on that basis, then, mate, should Daniel Levy get unbelievable credit for breaking the hoodoo of semi-final
Yeah, he
disappointment?
should. Yeah,
No, I don't think he should.
mate.
So this is the argument: the buck stops at the top, bollocks. And
The buck does start at the top.
Daniel Levy didn't kick the ball. He had nothing to do with what happened last night.
Okay.
To me, that goes on the fucking shoulders of the. I'd make 9 of those 11 players that put in really good performances yesterday. 8 of those 11 players.
If Tottenham win the Europa League, Daniel Levy deserves a huge amount of credit for sticking by Ange when everyone said he should be sacked, and he deserves a massive, massive well done if Tottenham win the Europa League. The buck starts with the top. I agree, but you also have to praise some of the stuff Levy's done. I'm not going to shit on Daniel Levy for some of the stuff he's done, but not praise when he deserves praise. Like, for me, the mindset and the mentality of a football club comes from that boardroom. I'll give you an example, right? I'll give you an example. Newcastle got taken over by the Saudis, for instance, right? They said in their first interview, you can look this up, with Sky Sports.
Yeah, they want to win the league, yeah? 5 years or whatever it is. Yeah,
Daniel Levy come out.
Hold on. I know where you're going to go with this.
No, you don't. You don't. If we win the Europa League and Daniel Levy comes out and says, right, now we've broken the hoodoo, we want to bring serious major honours to this football club. We've got an 8 to 10 year plan on how we're going to do that. I think a lot of this change for Tottenham bollocks. I think a lot of this Levy out bollocks, Levy in bollocks. I think everyone will be on the same page.
Well,
right
because
now,
because he's come out and because his talk is cheap, mate. Half of the fan base listen to Ange Postecoglou when he justifies one mistake by opening himself up to another one, and they go listen to his words, right? And the other half of the fan base say he's a salesman, myself included in that regard.
Because Ange makes mistakes on a football pitch, you can't shit on Daniel Levy for that.
I'm not doing that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that talk is cheap. An owner like Newcastle's owners coming out saying we've got a 5-year plan. Right? Have Newcastle United's trillionaire more money in the ground than has ever been printed in the history of humankind? Have they really shown the ambition to even pay for the fucking stadium, which doesn't come out of FFP? The answer to that is no, right? That stuff's going to be leveraged. They employed a guy. They lost their CEO to Newcastle. They got paid a bit of compensation.
They're going to get what they'll argue is we've been here. I know they've been there 4 years. 4 years. 5.
Yeah. 3
They'll
years.
argue that we've broken the trophy. We've won the League Cup. We've been in the Champions League once. We're going to get in the Champions League this season. We're going to hold on to our big assets. We've pinned down Gordon to a 5-year deal. We're going to pin down Isak. We've got a plan. If we win this Europa League,
how many of those decisions? How much of that accountability? This goes back. This is the whole thing for me. The buck stops at the top narrative it's logically fine to make, but I think when you're dealing with organizations that are as complex as football clubs, it is incredibly lazy to sit there and simplify that sort of thing. I don't think that the Sheikh or whatever his name is, the guy who owns that, the head of the PIF fund, I don't think he has a fucking clue who any of the footballers are. I give all of that credit to what Newcastle have achieved, all of it, all 100% of it, other than Mike Ashley getting out of the way and another guy coming in, of which, by the way, Mike Ashley deserves some of the credit for being able to do what they've done because of him leading a financially sustainable model. But all of the footballing decisions are not down to the guy who lives in Saudi Arabia who's got more money.
No, it's down to the director of football they've got.
And it's down to Eddie Howe, and it's down to picking the right players.
But they've got right now, they've got
director of football.
They've got their director of football.
So that's where you need to analyse and critique. That's what you need to do. So does Daniel Levy get credit for last night's performance, Henry? If I'm going to argue against people who say the buck stops at the top, then I will say, according to your logic, then yes, he does. But according to how I view life, which is let's look at the individual line items of accountability of what people are doing and how they're paid and whether they're doing the right job. For me, I give last night's credit entirely down to Ange Postecoglou and the players on the pitch and the coaches.
I think Levy deserves credit because if we would have sacked Ange and gone out,
I was for sacking Ange, so I've got to give Daniel credit. I was for sacking Ange.
You have to give Levy credit for sticking by a manager when the entire fan base pretty much has wanted him out for months. And he said, you know what? Fuck all of you. I can't stand the guy. but I'm happy when he does do things right. I'm
okay,
happy
well that's
to
fine.
praise.
That's a fine allocation. That's in terms of a decision making. Like, what did he do that made us get there? He kept the employment of Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah, he said, "You're my guy. I'm going to stick with you. I'm going to stick by you through thick and
Have to
thin."
acknowledge that.
Huge praise. But if we win the Europa League and we're going into the summer market and we don't buy adequate targets that we need with all this extra money from the Europa League and getting the Champions League, that's when you can critique him and say, "Look, we haven't done well enough." You have to have a balance. Like I'm not gonna leave you out immediately because Ange Postecoglou, if he'd have lost last night, like a lot of the decisions.
There was clearly a lot of people would have done, right?
Yeah, well, they're
Clearly,
fucking morons.
Terry O'Shea, I
moron.
like Terry. He's a nice guy. I speak to him on Twitter. I know he's violently on the Levy outside. Nice guy though. Shout out to you. But Terry, you're someone that probably would have gone straight after Daniel Levy, right? Let me know in the comments. Just quickly, guys, we just press pause for 2 seconds. I want to get your both takes. It's an interesting conversation, actually. I'm enjoying it. Rakdos Madness, big up to you, Alan. How you doing, mate? Thank you so much. Alan, I've lost your number. I think you're still in the WhatsApp group, so I'll get you back on the show very soon. Thank you for the super chat. Hi, Shawnee, Johnny, and Henry. Loved watching you guys at Bødo. Great fun to watch. When do we meet Helga? She's currently recovering in the shed. She'll be released.
She's not still changed to. She's still not chained to the radiator.
She's coming around. She's coming around. You know,
coming around.
I'm joking. I sound proper rapey there. It's it's got demonetized as well. Silly boy. But thank you very much for the super chat, mate. Yeah, listen, I don't. Unfortunately, like I said at the start, part of my mindset last night, selfishly, was like, well, if Bødo do go through, then I get to see those lovely girls again in Bilbao. But as it is, I've got a telephone number now of a pretty girl whose name I'll never get to say to her face in all likelihood. But it is what it is. It is what it is. It was still a great moment. Drewzilla, big up, lads. Glad you had a great time and travelled safe. On to Bilbao. Currently, United are bigger in name only, in my opinion. I agree. Happy to go in underdogs. Really think this 11 is solid and has enough to unlock United. Yeah, I guess this is the thing, right? Johnny, I'll start with you, mate. Just on this, I wanted to bring it back to this Levy conversation because I think it is fascinating. But just on this particular super chat, Johnny, do you think that without Maddison, are you firm on this notion that we have no creativity with the absence of a Berghvall and Maddison? Is that like creativity is gone, or is it just the traditional creativity that we think of?
Look, when you have a football team, you design a football team so it has multiple threats. The threats coming from the middle, coming from out wide, your striker, and your set pieces, okay? By removing all your creativity via Berghvall and Maddison and not willing to go with a Micky Moore or another, right, or change it up, then you become more predictable in the sense that your main threat is going to come from set pieces, right? Winning a free kick out wide from the likes of whether it be Udogie winning a free kick or Richalison or Son or Johnson. That's where our main threat's going to come. So if you know your threat's going to come, you don't need to worry so much about the middle of the park, but it negates us quite a bit.
It's a big hit. It's a massive hit. I just think that we have to think about whether you play a double threat down the wings.
No. So this is why I'm saying, and I've said this isn't about just last night. I said as soon as Maddison and Berghvall went out, we have to think out the box. And you know how, as the Bødo coach said last night, they surprised us, Spurs. That's what I'd like to see in the final. I'd like to see something that Amorim isn't thinking of. And
great point, Johnny. Do you remember, mate? Just, I'm sorry, I'm not going to interrupt for 5 seconds, but I'll come back to let you finish because I think this is. Do you remember ages ago I said predictability is the second best ability, unpredictability, right?
Always,
the first time Ange doesn't do what Ange Ball was, suddenly, if it works, right, then every other team that now has to prepare for Tottenham don't know whether they're going to be playing Ange Ball or this B-Tech version of it, this secondary system. And so they don't have enough time to practice. I was saying that back about Conte Ball as well, for what it's worth. And so, like, having plan Bs up your sleeve means that there's byproduct benefits of unpredictability. Your other team, your opposition can't practice for the expected. And so having done what we've done last night and before, does Amorim now have a headache in that he doesn't know what version of Tottenham are going to turn up on in build-up?
Well, no, I think that's what the dilemma would have been 100% had Maddison and Berghvall had played, because I think we still probably have played the same as that last night. But my point here is it's given him one or two less things to worry about in the middle of the park. So it becomes more predictable that they're going to go pragmatic and they will try to and hit us on the break. Now, how do you negate that? What you do is you do like what Arsenal did the other night against PSG, press Timber further up so that, they have a lot more to think about when they're breaking. They can't take their eyes off of the player. But for me, this is why I think that we should be thinking out the box. What player do we have? Now, I've said this again and again and again, right? Micky Moore reminds me of a young Gaza with the way he, like when I first saw him running through it. I'm not advocating Micky Moore starting this game, right? I'll be totally honest with you. What I'm saying is, if we're in a situation where we need to unlock it and we got 15, 20 minutes to go and we're not looking like we're creating anything, for me, is the spark that could change the game, create something, win a free kick for Porro or something that gives them that extra thing to worry about that they never thought about, that suddenly is creating them problems. Right now, I think we're going to be predictable in the sense he knows our threat's going to come from the flanks and from Porro set pieces. If he can cancel that out, he can let Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes do their thing with maybe Casemiro and their thing. But, I think their weakness is probably going to be their defensive. De Ligt is out. But listen, it ain't going to be an easy game. Can we win it? 100% we can win it. But it's been made more difficult by the fact that we've lost these two players. That's all I'm saying. And
it's just it's an interesting debate, Johnny. Yeah, I don't disagree. Guys, just quickly, in 17 minutes time, we're going to shut it down here, and we're going to ask you to stay where you are, because if you want to carry on the conversation, we're going to move over to Henry Talks Football, and we're going to.
No, you said it wrong, Sean.
Henry Talks Bollocks, and Henry Talks Lost Passports, and we're gonna move on and carry on the conversation over there. So yeah, exactly. God, Johnny, imagine if it was Henry that had the match tickets in his pocket on that yesterday. Nightmares.com. But guys, stay where you are. We're still got 15 minutes here, and then we're going to move over there to carry on. Make sure you smash the like for Helga. Make sure you smash the subscribe for Marina and what was the other one's name? Maren, I think her name was. Absolutely smoke shows. And also get over to Johnny H3232 on Twitter and Insta's Talking Tottenham 1882, and also on TikTok. Johnny is the boy who understands socials. He knows how to get on the algorithm over there. We love to have them all here. We're going to carry on talking about this. Henry, I want to get your take quickly on, and thank you very much for the super chat, by the way, Drew. Very, very generous of you, mate. Really appreciate it. We pivoted there just around back to that Manchester United thing. I want to get your take on that as well, though, Henry. Do you think that Amorim now, whether or not Ange has intentions to carry on with the pragmatic version of us we've seen over recent games in Europe, because even the home leg against Bødo, I think, was slow and patient. I called it statuesque a little bit, but it was certainly slow and patient. And I hear Johnny's point that yes, he has less things to worry about with Maddison not being there. But does the fact that now we have the potential to go gung-ho Ange ball, and also a proven ability to be able to get muddy and get in the weeds, if you like, and in the ditches and the trenches, and mix it up, does that become an asset in terms of Amorim's ability to prepare?
Yeah, of course it does. It makes us very unpredictable. We might lean on Porro to play long balls over the top. We might lean on the wingers to use the wing play to break down in fullbacks. We're definitely going to have more bodies. I think the way we will go is to try and overload up their midfield, because we know that their fullbacks like to get nice and high. But yeah, that makes things a little bit more challenging for Ruben in terms of how does he approach the game? How does he think Spurs will approach the game? From our perspective, I don't know if Ange is going to try to play differently against Palace and Villa to try and carry on with this pragmatic way, because the best results we've had this season have been when we're counter-attacking side. Brentford away, Man City away, Frankfurt away, Bødo away. The best game where we've gone gung-ho, I think, was Villa at home and West Ham at home. We won 4-1 both those games. But beating West Ham at the moment, I think, Jesus Christ. I mean, they are in the pits, but the Villa game was a fantastic result because we were 1-0 down at half-time.
Bødo would smash them. Bødo would smash this. Bødo would have smashed West Ham. I'll tell you, honestly, they were that bad.
Yeah, I think that it definitely gives a headache to Ruben, because he's going to be thinking, how do they approach this game? For us, we know how Man United are going to approach the game. We know what their 11 is going to be. We know that they're going to for the first 20 minutes start. They always start slowly. First 20 minutes, crowd gets impatient. Then they have like a 15, 18, 19, 20 minute spell where they dominate. And in that 15, 20 minute spell, we need to play like we do in these away fixtures. Defend for our lives, because they're going to have space. Bruno's probably going to get some space. Garnacho, they've got Dalot back as well. I forgot about him. He's a good player. We need the best defensive performance of the season by a country mile, and the best performance. No, because I think Man United, how I said that.
But you're giving them so much credit, mate. I'm not
giving them credit. They've just got youth players that can hurt us.
Do not win.
Like Harry Maguire.
It sounds like you guys think that they like. It sounds like you guys think that the bookies are right and that they're the favourites, not because of their pedigree, but because they're a better team.
No. Well, I'm saying to you,
a better team. I'm just saying, Maguire in the air is a massive.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's a threat. They've got threats. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They've got huge threats. Bruno Fernandes is going to be a threat. Maguire in the air is a threat. Dalot is going to be a threat.
Yeah, he's back now.
But then you can say, look at us. Solanke's going to be a threat for them. They're coming up against a player that scored in both semi-finals.
So are you saying right now, forget about the environment. Okay, I understand that the environment is United to get the job done. And I get that. I take that, right? And I take it. I don't think that someone else said it. I think Martin Walton said that Fernandes is the only world-class player in both squads. He ain't world-class, in my opinion. He's a tier below it. But that's up to opinion, right? Put aside the environment. In fact, no, we'll include the environment. We'll include the context of the situation. Are you saying, boys, that it's 50-50 in your mind? Like it's in terms of like, park your Tottenham hat. If you were an Arsenal fan or a Chelsea fan or whatever else, and you're looking at that game, do you think that it's as tight as 50-50 on the day?
Yeah.
And you would lean towards Manchester United?
No, I wouldn't lean towards Manchester United. I think he's so split down the middle. What the neutral fan's going to say is that this group of Man United players in the last couple of seasons have won things together. A neutral fan would say this Tottenham squad haven't demonstrated they can get over the line yet. That's where we have to get our approach to this game. If we go gung-ho and go 2-0 up or whatever, right, we're in absolute fucking dreamland. But if we go gung-ho for 20, 30 minutes of this game, we need to make sure that whoever's in that midfield is there to be prepared to break up that counter-attack that Man United are going to have. Because if we go gung-ho, they will just sit there and say, look, that's fine. They're going to have players at the back. And that's why I don't think it's worth risking Van de Ven against Palace and Villa. Because if we do, and
I'm happy for that to
you need a balance. You can't rest him for both games because he needs to be fully sharp going into that game. So you need to maybe play him 30, 40 minutes against. you need to play 30, 40 minutes against Palace. Maybe 30, 40 minutes against Villa. I don't give a shit. I'd quite happily lose both games as long as we've got a fully, like the group of players we've got right now, fully fit for the Bødo game.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Johnny, I'll let you come in, mate.
Yeah, I was just going to say, look, Atletico Bilbao, right, played expansive football against Man United and got burnt, right, in both games. I know they lost a player in the first game, but for some unknown reason, I'd like to know, could be really interesting. Both Nico brothers didn't play last night for Man United, which is really interesting, considering how important they are for the club.
They're both injured.
They both got injured in the last game.
They both got injured again. One of them got an injury in training, and apparently one of them got injured against Real Sociedad.
Right, okay.
I mean, how's your fucking luck for that? How's your luck?
I know.
Both the Nico brothers. Who are the Nico brothers?
You don't know who Nico Williams is?
Jackie Williams and Nico Williams.
Sorry, the Williams brothers. Sorry.
Yeah.
They're not, who are the Nico brothers?
They're not a band, Sean. They're not a band.
I don't know what's going on here. Nico Williams and Inaki Williams, yeah?
Yeah.
So they had to play with
interesting that they play for different countries. Inaki Williams plays for Ghana and Nico Williams plays for Spain. I know that because of that. Listen, I'll drop a name here for the 18th time. That day when I was down in the Tunnel Club and I had Gus Poyet to my left and Chris Hughton to my right. Chrissy Hughton was the manager of Ghana for that World Cup or for the African nations. Got fired immediately afterwards.
No, I just think that, you have to look. Football's about tactics and the quality of squad. You have to maximise what you have in front of you and negate the qualities and the best qualities of what you're facing. And based on that, I would go for a mega strong midfield, exactly the same defence, mega strong battling midfield of Bissouma, Pape Matar Sarr, and Bentancur, with Kulu on the right, Richalison on the left, Solanke through the middle, right? Because that lot are going to battle. And that's where we need to be, to bully Man United off the ball, to be strong in the middle of the park, winning back possession that they can't get a foothold in the game. I just feel if we try too hard to go gung-ho and play progressive football like we'd like to do in the final, then, it's going to end in tears. All I ask for, I don't want to ever see a game like that game 6 years ago at Atletico, because it was demoralising. This is a team that had absolutely no belief. For some reason, having beaten Ajax, they had no belief at all that they were going to beat that Liverpool
That's
team.
why you got to play the game, not the occasion.
Correct.
So we didn't play like it was a semi-final. We just played and did what we had to do.
Yeah, the only thing I would say, Henry, is the thing that troubles me. I have not seen in any game, even in derbies, where that team comes out that tunnel like they want to kill someone. Like I want to see them so fired up. And we didn't even see it against Bødo Glint. Read them, whatever it is. Martin Luther King, Robert Kennedy. Find someone who's going to come out here and give them an address like you've never had before. We saw the Ange Postecoglou address to the Australian national squad about what this means to Australia and how much this is and how big this occasion is. Do it for yourself. Do it for your family. We need a speech like that before the game against Man United.
You don't know they're doing
where you can be legends. Like you can be. Son will go down as a Tottenham legend.
They all will, mate.
They all will,
including
turns
Ange,
up
by the way.
Scores in that final. If he turns up and scores in that final, he'll go down as one of the best players we've had. Been at the club 10 years. Played in Champions League finals. Played in title races.
Did what no one else, all of the legends that have come into our club. Well, I hear people say, imagine if Ledley King was in that squad right now. And I hear it, but I'm not disagreeing with it, but I'm just using this as a catalyst for my point. Harry Kane, Van der Vaart, Modric, Bale, players like Berbatov, Robbie Keane, Jermaine Defoe. Some of them won a trophy, right? Some of them didn't, but none of them have won the Europa League, right? None of them have won the second biggest tournament in European football. And it's an opportunity for these guys to be etched in granite as superstars that will be remembered for a long time. What the last question I have for you guys in the last 5 minutes, before I just quickly get to it, is just want to say a massive thank you to the super chats. Lovely content, guys. Says Liam C. Thank you very much, Liam. I really appreciate it, mate. Hopefully, Johnny and Henry and I are going to be doing more together. We're thinking about doing something more structured, which we're going to. It's not here. Yeah. That's Bugsy Malone's mandate, that one. And then Super Blaine's in the house as well. Super Spurs TV. Big up to you, Blaine. Thank you so much, mate. Go buy Helga a bunch of flowers and a pack of extra ribs. I don't think I'm going to meet Helga again, mate. I'm turning my attentions towards Maria in Senorita, Spain. That's where the next time we're going to be seeing some content regarding that. But I might send her a text and say, just out of curiosity, even though your team didn't make it, if you're impulsive and a little bit spontaneous, then Henry can find another accommodation set up. He can go and sleep out with the dogs in the street for all I care, because I've got a little summit coming to me from Norway. I doubt it's going to happen, Henry. So you're okay. You're okay. Thank you very much, though, Blaine. Really appreciate you, mate, for the super chat. Last question I have for you guys is just regarding that sort of notion around Ange, right, and what he's going to achieve this season. To me, has been like a tale of obviously two competitions, mainly, but three competitions you could argue. Is there it's a two-part question. One is, will the people that hate Ange or that want him gone, will they kind of forgive him as long as he doesn't stay in their mind, right? If he goes, will they kind of remember him fondly for what he has achieved or will have achieved? And that he won't go down with the asterisks against the name that's on because remember, don't forget the league, right? Will that shit be forgotten about?
Yeah.
And the second question, just quickly, I'll let you both go, just baking both answers here. Second question is, does the notion that top four isn't a trophy and that trophies are all that matters, does that in any way get reshaped or repositioned given what we've had to endure this season, where for essentially 9 months it's been fucking shit, but for the last 2 months, in a couple of little moments here and there, it's been wonderful?
Yeah. That one moment we will have in Bilbao, for me, overpowers all the other fucking 23 defeats. Seeing Son show his armpits in Bilbao, lifting a trophy, is what you will tell kids, grandkids, cousins, sisters, brothers in 10 years, 5 years, 20 years, however long it will be. I was there when Tottenham lifted the Europa League against Man United in Bilbao. And I think, I don't know what your guys' logic is. I would happily Tottenham finish anywhere between 10th and 15th next season if we won an FA Cup. I would take the suffering, because at the end of the day, watching Spurs lift something, play all the way through the competition.
So you'd go for this again? So the
trips to Norway, the trips to fucking Germany, the trips.
No. So forget about all those things. All those things are great. I hear you, but I'm of the opinion that I said I'm happy to finish 17th once. I've always said this from day one, right? To get the monkey off our back, finish 17th, lift the trophy, to get the monkey off our back, right? Like the Spursy thing. Just get that finished. But that 17th in a trophy is still a frustrating season for in the moment, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen at the end of the season. But you do know that over the course of the season, losing 20 games is painful. And so for me, I tolerate it once, but I want to go back to being at the top end of the Premier League.
Okay, so let me ask you something. Would you rather finish 7th and get Conference League, or finish 12th and win the League Cup?
Once or twice?
No, just next season. You get League Cup, you get Conference League.
7th in the Conference League.
What, then rather finish 12th and win the League Cup?
Yeah.
So you both get Conference League.
Yeah, but that's really a fucking shit question.
Okay, finish fourth right now and get in the Champions League.
Yeah,
or finish 17th and win the Europa League and get in the Champions League. What would you rather?
Comparison either.
Hang on, no. Next season, would I rather finish 4th and get in the Champions League, or finish 13th, slightly better but still shit, and win the Carabao Cup?
No, not the Carabao Cup. Anyone's taking 4th over fucking.
No, they're not though. They weren't a year ago.
If you offer me 13th place and an FA Cup, or finish 4th, I'm still taking an FA Cup.
Johnny, is the answer always a trophy, no matter how bad you are, as long as you don't go down?
Look, no, it's not, right? Oh, as a one-off, this is great, right? Having gone and suffered so many times, and, I've had people say to me, oh, you're a miserable git. All you do is you slag off Ange, you slag off the team. You try going game after game after game for hours, and then you come back.
Thousands.
Thinking what
on Helga Thousands in general.
Thousands. And like you come back and I give it as it is. I give it raw as I come out the stadium, right? Some of it's a bit too emotional, I admit it. But I don't want to go through this again, right? Last night was fantastic. It was a fantastic thing, a fantastic moment that I'll never forget. And I'm so glad I've done it. But I don't want to go through that again. Why can't I have both? What?
Showing
What?
That's the number. It's Helga.
Why can't I, look, the whole part of that, throughout a season, I would rather be right now competing for the top 6 right now in that mix for the top 6, top 7, whoever it's going to be in that fight, competing and in the final. Why
Johnny, so obviously the better answer, the ideal scenario.
I'll have one season. I'll accept one season like this.
I'm with you on that 100%. Yeah. Were you a year ago in the ballpark in the camp of people that said top 4 is irrelevant unless you're going to kick on? Tottenham haven't got owners that are prepared to do enough to make you Champions League winners, and Tottenham haven't got owners that are going to make you Premier League contenders in all reality. Therefore, top 4 is irrelevant. Give me a trophy over top 4 any day. Were you in that camp, or were you someone that always recognised that what top 4 really means, rather than just qualifying for the champion, rather than the money, top 4 also represents a season in which you have gone to 75% of your games across the world, across the country, and come away happy?
That's where I am. I want to be competitive. I want to be in the Champions League. I want to face the biggest teams that there are in the world or in Europe. I want to be in that number. I want to be seeing us play the Barcelonas, the Real Madrids, the PSGs, not with the greatest respect, Elfsberg, AZ Alkmaar, and Bødo Glint, right? That's not my...
You happily have that, knowing the fact that we're not good enough to win the Champions League.
Probably. No. Listen, we know...
the conversation that's happening at Arsenal fans right now, Henry.
We're not good enough. Listen, look, let's not beat around the bush here, right? Had we made the Champions League and finished in the Champions League position last year, we wouldn't even be having a conversation because we'd be out of everything because we've been that bad, right? We wouldn't have done it.
Arsenal didn't win the league and we're going to win the Europa League. So every fucking cloud's got a silver
line. No, listen, it's just next year, okay, I don't want to go to a game and watch us lose 19 games and get knocked out the Champions League early, right? What I'd like
on that basis, then, Johnny, would you be? I know that put aside the money, the financial. Last question, because we've got to jump across to Henry's.
Yeah.
Last quick question. On that basis, the argument that's put together by like jealous, bitter, like non-Tottenham fans that say that the Europa League winners should just get back into the Europa League. Would you be okay if you could have the same sort of money, or maybe like let's say 70% of the money that you get from the Champions League? Would you accept 70% of the money that you're going to get, but qualify for the Europa League again next season?
Yeah, but it's hypothetical. I think for me, it's more than just the money. The money's a massive thing where we are in our club right now because we desperately need that money. But for me, it's about who you're facing. And as Spurs fans, we should be praying that we're, instead of playing Southampton and Ipswich at home and some other club, whoever comes up, that yes, we're playing those teams, but during the week, we're going down to Spurs and we're seeing the greatest teams in Europe and competing against that. That for me is the pinnacle of football, and that's where I want to be, right? That's it in a nutshell. But this season, of course, I'm going to take 16th, 17th and win a trophy and change it and change our whole... The next 5-6 years, look, we've done shows about it. This is a massive sliding doors moment. Whoever wins this trophy, whether it's us or Man United, it's like international rescue, right? They've come in and rescued us from serious financial issues. If Man United win, they're going to get a load of money. They can then restructure, and the same for us.
Yeah, it's massive. Henry, unless you got any final thoughts, mate, on the topic, we'll round off there, guys, because we've got to get across. But stay where you are. Don't go anywhere, because we're literally going to get redirected straight into Henry Talks Bollocks.
Have you set up the redirect link?
Yeah, I set the redirect up. It's all done. We're starting over there in literally
links for the streams in the private chat.
Oh, yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, links in the streams, Johnny, if you want to go over there in the private chat there. But, guys, yeah, stay where you are. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone for the super chats as well, to Alan, to Drewzilla, to Liam, and to Blaine. Love you guys. Thanks, everyone, for kicking on, and for being a part of this one. Guys, we are out of here, but we're going over to enemy territory, arsenalfans.com. We're going to see how we get on in that. Listen, it was a wonderful day. The two of us got to know each other in ways that we probably would never have done, and it's fantastic to see it. Can't wait for Bilbao. It's going to be sensational. Last answer for you guys before you go. Johnny, one word answer. Are we lifting the trophy in Bilbao?
I can't believe yes. I can't believe it. That's what I mean. Otherwise, what's the point?
Good man. Henry, are we lifting the trophy?
Yup. We certainly are.
Guys. Smash the like if you guys agree. Smash the subscribe if you don't agree. Smash the subscribe and the like either way. Guys, we'll see you over on Henry's in 2 minutes. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, thanks, boys. Appreciate you. Take care. Oh, sorry, before I go, make sure you get over to Johnny H3232 and to you're going to be on Henry Talks in a second. It's a Talking Tottenham 1882. Love you guys. See you in a little while. Thanks for everyone. Appreciate you all. Bye-bye.